Slamcast. 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 Welcome. Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Slamcast. I'm your host, Greg. Let's get it started, shall we, folks? How y'all been doing this week? Having a good week? Having a good time? Having a good day? Having a good whatever? I hope you are. So to get this week started, something took me by surprise this week. I feel like a lot of you can agree with me on this. Maybe it's just because of the weather that I've been experiencing. But how the hell are we already halfway through the month of March? I personally cannot believe it. I find it very surprising. It still feels like February to me. I'm going to be very honest with you folks. It still feels like mid to late February. And I feel like that's partially because of the weather and also just been caught up in stuff. I find when, now that I've gotten older and I have more responsibility because I'm an adult man and a man-child, but an adult man-child nonetheless, I find that when you're preoccupied with day-to-day life, I find time goes by a lot quicker. Or at least it feels like it goes by quicker. As opposed to when we're younger, in high school, elementary school, stuff like that. When you come home from school, time doesn't go by that quickly. And even in university, I feel like with the flexible schedule of university courses and then also the hours of elementary school and high school days, I feel like those days go by longer, mainly because you wake up early and then the school day is done earlier than a normal work day. I also feel like that's partially the reason when you have a normal work day, 9 to 5 type job, Monday to Friday, weeks go by a lot quicker. They kind of just get swept away and you realize, oh shit, we're already halfway through March. Also, it still kind of looks like shit outside. That's probably part of the problem. It's not too bad. I feel like there have been worse Marches that have been colder and grayer. This last week's been, I want to say warm. It hasn't even been warm. It's just been very bright. I feel like bright is a very good sign of spring being just around the corner. But yeah, I just wanted to get that out of the way because I was kind of just like, what do you mean it's March 15th already? It's not March 15th today, by the way. It's March 18th. But still, when March 15th rolled around this week, I was like, what the hell's going on? Where'd my March go? I want it back. Give it back. What the hell? But yeah, enough about that. Another thing I want to get into, something that just passed yesterday. Wait, was it? I believe it was yesterday. I'll double check just in case. But St. Paddy's Day. The good holiday. Good holiday. No, it wasn't yesterday. Today's the 19th. Excuse me, folks. Recording on the 19th, not on the 18th. See? I don't even get my days mixed up. I thought it was the 18th. I just lost a day in my head. I just lost 24 hours in my mind. Don't you hate that when you think it's like a... Well, sometimes it's beneficial. Like if you think it's a Wednesday or Thursday and then you realize it's actually a Friday. That's pretty awesome. But man, now it's the 19th of March. God, it's messing with my head. I don't know if you folks can tell. It's just messing with my brain. But yeah, March 17th. No, not even 17th. 17th. March 17th, St. Paddy's Day. Great holiday in my opinion. This isn't going to be like a Valentine's Day episode where I pick apart all the issues I have with St. Paddy's Day. Personally, I don't see any main issues with the way that I want to say St. Paddy's Day is run, but it's not necessarily run in any sort of way, but you know what I mean. With St. Valentine's Day, or I guess it's just Valentine's Day. With Valentine's Day, I had a critique. Go back to my Valentine's Day episode if you want to hear more about that. But I had a main critique that I felt could really help out everyone who participates in the holiday. But with St. Patrick's Day, I really feel like the only way you could probably make the holiday beneficial for everyone is to always make it so it lands on a weekend. But I know that's not going to happen, and I can understand that. But I feel like everybody could benefit from that because, as we all know, St. Patrick's Day, for some reason, consists of, possibly due to Irish stereotypes, revolves around just getting hammered. That's the holiday. And personally, that's a holiday I can get behind. I'm all for a holiday that involves just getting smashed off your ass. St. Patrick's Day, New Year's Eve, your birthday, my birthday. Basically any day of the week is a good day to get hammered. But one where it's socially acceptable to get hammered, I'm all for it. Yeah, so I don't really have any issues with it. I feel like to my Irish listeners or people of Irish background, if I even have any listeners, the few of you that listen, how do you feel about the whole stereotyping of St. Paddy's Day? Because for some reason, especially with the society that we live in currently, political correctness and stereotyping and the like seems to be a hot button issue nowadays. But it's kind of interesting because it feels like St. Paddy's Day because everybody gets hammered. With most people, or maybe I'm just not hearing it, but it seems like most people just kind of push that issue under the rug and they're like, no, just pass me another beer. Don't even worry about it. It's fine. Don't even. Or, like, is it not even an issue? Are we just kind of embracing it? Along with the color green. Because I myself am not of Irish background, so I don't really know. Or I don't really have, I don't feel I can have an opinion on this situation. And I don't really have, there's no holidays that I can recall that sort of impede on my cultural background, as far as I could tell. We should have a Greg Day. That would be a great holiday. I guess that's my birthday, but at the same time, personally, we should just have an international Greg Day where we all drink and eat my favorite foods. So like burritos and pizzas with my favorite toppings. I'm getting a little hungry thinking about this. I should probably stop while I'm ahead. Ooh. We play video games and watch the best TV shows and movies. In my opinion, are the best TV shows and movies. And look at dank maymays on the internet. That would be the holiday. That would be my holiday. I feel like that would be a good question to ask, yes. But if you had a holiday based on you, what would be a mandatory celebration as part of it? That'd be pretty interesting to hear people's opinions on that. But anyways, I'm delving into this too far. St. Paddy's Day, it's awesome. I like it. I imagine most people like it. I hope you had a good one. I hope you got hammered. I didn't get hammered because I had work the next day, but I had a few drinks. It was fun. I had a whole Snapchat story about it. I was pretty proud about that. That's the first time I ever had a series of Snapchat stories that had a beginning, middle, if you can even call it that, and a conclusion. Very proud of that. It's the happiest moment of my life. Everything's downhill from here. Everything's pointless for me because I've peaked. I've peaked, folks. That Snapchat story, that was me peaking. For those of you that may have seen it. Speaking of binge watching shows, or not binge watching shows, but my favorite shows. I don't know if this is my favorite show. It's a very good show, though. I just started season 2 of Daredevil. I didn't just start it. I just watched episode 4 of the season just before recording this. By the way, episodes 3 and 4 are great episodes of the whole season. Episodes 1 and 2 are fine. There's nothing wrong with them. But in terms of like best episodes of a particular season for Daredevil season 2, episodes 3 and 4 are definitely contenders. They have some wicked scenes in there. Some great dialogue between characters. It's pretty awesome. For those of you that are fans of Daredevil, the Marvel Netflix show, haven't checked out season 2 yet, do it. I've been enjoying it so far. I really enjoyed season 1. Season 1 was great. Sort of superhero TV show. I thought the way that they did everything was really well done. I prefer it over Jessica Jones, the season 1 of Jessica Jones. There's just a few things in it. I feel like the main reason I like Daredevil over Jessica Jones is because there's a lot more choreographed sort of fight scenes in Daredevil compared to Jessica Jones, which I feel like is the main reason I enjoy Daredevil over Jessica Jones season 1. But the villains, I'd say they're about neck and neck. I've noticed that the Netflix Marvel TV shows, their villains have been top notch. Wilson Fisk, Purple Man, and Punisher, Elektra of season 2. That I still have to. Season 2 villains are still up in the air, obviously, because I'm not done with it yet. But Wilson Fisk and the Purple Man in Daredevil and Jessica Jones, respectively, those are phenomenal villains and probably better than most, if not all, of the villains in the Marvel movies themselves. But yeah, so check it out. If you haven't checked out Daredevil on Netflix and but you're like a big fan or kind of a fan of superhero movies, I'd say check it out. We're watching chronological order though, so watch Daredevil first and then Jessica Jones first. I don't know if I've ever met anybody who started with Jessica Jones first. I feel like I have. I'd really like to hear their opinion on going back to Daredevil after watching Jessica Jones, if that had any major impact on anything, because there are a few scenes that are major references to Daredevil and Jessica Jones. So I'd be curious to hear their opinions on that. But yeah, so what's going on in my life this week? Not much, just work. But last week I mentioned my, I'm not going to say fight with vertigo, but my dealing with viral-induced vertigo, as the walk-in clinic doctor told me. He told me to get blood work, and he said there was no rush, so I didn't get it last weekend. But however, earlier today I did get it, and it's really interesting. I don't want to say it's fun to get blood work, but the whole idea of them sticking a needle in your arm and then they do the thing. I always enjoy when they do the they wrap like a rubber thing or whatever, just some sort of tubing or some sort of rubber stretchy stuff around your arm and like tighten it and then like slap your or like tap your arm a little bit to see where the vein is. I always find that's kind of funny because it's like, I'm sure like most of you, it just makes you think of like the generic like heroin addict where they like tie the thing around their arm and then bite down on it and just start getting the vein and then you get your fix, you know. But you know, I find that the whole situation's pretty interesting. And I've had to get blood work done before at the same place that I went to today, and I was kind of holding back on going because last time I went, the place I go is in a basement, and last time I went, it looked like I was getting my blood work taken in a basement, and it was like packed with people last time I went, and like the process seemed super slow, and like just like cement walls everywhere, and like nothing about it looked like fun. No, not fun, but like welcoming, I guess is the word I would use. And then I walk in expecting to see that same thing today. I walk in, all the walls are painted nice, pale and like varying colors to some degree, and like there's a whole lot of chairs, and like their process is like quick and smooth, so it's not like the chairs are just that are set out for people to sit on are like packed with people. It's like enough sitting room for everybody, and the process smooth and quick for everybody. They were just taking people like left and right, just going through it, and I was just sitting there being like, holy crap, this place has changed dramatically. It was just so much more welcoming. So I definitely enjoyed the process this time around. 10 out of 10 would get my blood work done again. Another thing that I thought was really cool about this place, which I'm assuming a lot of places that do blood work and stuff like this, I'm assuming they'd be doing. It's possible. Before I got my blood work, before they started taking my blood, the nurse who was helping me was like, do you want to see your results online? And I was like, yeah, sure. Y'all know me. I love technology. And I was like seeing like, I guess posters or stuff, informative posters on the walls and stuff about like finding your results online. So I didn't think they'd ask me. I figured I'd have to like sign up a bunch of crap or whatever. And she just like slapped some sticker on a pamphlet, and she's like, just follow these instructions and input this code and you'll be able to find your results. And like the doctor who wanted these results will also get them too. But like if you want to check them out yourself, just follow these simple instructions and just punch in this code. I haven't looked over the instructions, but it seemed like they're minimal instructions. I kind of wish I'd brought the pamphlet up here with me. It's out of my reach right now, so I won't bother. But yeah, I think that's pretty awesome. Like, it didn't seem like there was any major sign up or anything when I skimmed through it. It was just kind of punch in a code and it'll tell you your results. So that's pretty awesome, you know, sort of seeing medical aspects of the world. I don't want to say catching up with technology, but staying in line with technology. So it's a lot easier for people to, and a lot quicker for people to find out, you know, what's up with their bodies and whatnot. It's pretty awesome. Fun fact that I learned while I was taking my blood work today. I'm sure as most of you know, it's always a good idea, especially when your doctor tells you to, but walk-in clinic doctor who told me to get this blood work didn't mention it to me, but it's always a good idea to not eat for a while before you get your blood work done. It just, I don't know what it does. I'm not a doctor, but apparently food screws up the levels in your blood or whatever. But the nurse, who was very nice and very helpful, started taking blood from me. And, you know, it was taking a while. And I remember last time I went, the nurse who was helping me, like, just up and left and then came back a few minutes later and was like, you're good. But this one was a lot quicker, or maybe I just don't remember it as well. The last time I don't remember as well as this time around. Oh, there's my phone. Excuse me, folks. Oh, a YouTuber who I'm subscribed to uploaded a video to his channel. That's great. But yeah, she getting what she needed to out of me, out of my veins. And then she looked up at me and she was like, have you had any water this morning? And I was a little surprised. I thought I screwed something up. And I was like, oh, no, why? Look, what the hell did I do? What did I screw up, kind of thing? She was like, oh, no, it's nothing. It's fine. But she told me, which I've never heard before, but good to know for people who, if you're ever planning on getting blood work anytime soon, or just in future years when you have to get blood work, she said it's always a good idea to get some sort of water in you, I guess, before getting blood work done. She didn't say it in this detail, but basically what she said to me was it kind of helps, I guess, the blood or whatever they're looking for get out of your system quicker. So it's always a good idea sounds like it's always a good idea to have a bit of water or something before you go and get blood work. And then the process will be even quicker than my process was, which, to be honest, was still fairly quick. It's probably just a few minutes, just taking my blood, and then I was out of there. But, if you don't like having a needle and you want them to get whatever they need to out of you as quickly as possible, chug back some water, apparently. Lets the blood run out quicker or something. But yeah, that was my experience. I hope I didn't gross any of you out or anything. So how are y'all doing today? Doing good? Yeah, it's good. I'm just going to quickly run off this topic because we're at the 20-minute mark. Really didn't have a lot planned for this week either. I'm getting pretty sloppy. I only just today uploaded the YouTube version of last week's episode. So that was pretty shit of me. But it happens. Whatever. But a while ago, I was talking to a friend of mine. And I was talking to him about a coworker of mine. I was talking to him about my podcast, and I mentioned to him, like, hey, just keep an open mind. Like, the stuff I kind of talk about sometimes is like not safe for work. Like, it's not, because essentially when I record this, I don't plan for any of my coworkers to listen to this or anything. I was kind of giving him a heads up. I was like, just, I actually forgot to send him a link, so I should probably do that when I get the time. Maybe if next time he brings it up, I'll send him something. That's besides the point. I was kind of just like, I do a podcast, but it's a little not safe for work. He was like, hey, don't worry, man. Sometimes we, I forget how he worded it, but he basically was talking about how, when you're in a different company, you act differently. So it kind of got me thinking about, like, what does it mean to be genuine in front of somebody? Not to say that me acting differently in front of my coworkers as opposed to in front of this microphone or in front of my friends. Not to say I'm not genuine when I talk to them, but it got me more thinking in the sense of, with this new digital age, what does it mean to be genuine when you're creating something to put on the internet? You know what I mean? Like, even myself, I could edit out chunks of my ums and ahs, or just chunks of whatever I'm talking about poorly. Or even before I start recording, I start running through what I'm going to talk about in my head, so I have a general idea of what I'm talking about, so I don't sound like a complete moron. Or, there's vloggers who you can see they have multiple jump cuts in their vlogs. So it's like, what did you cut out that you didn't want your viewers to see? Not to say it was a bad thing or anything, but like, what stops it from being a genuine person and somebody who's sort of edited into being somebody different, if that makes any sense? You can get a video going and then you can kind of cut it up to make yourself seem like somebody who you're really not. Essentially kind of like what reality TV shows do to a lot of the people on those shows. It was like, cut it up so it's not the actual person who you're seeing anymore. It's some edited person so they get the views, so they can see some asshole instead of just some guy who's trying to do a thing or whatever. But it got me thinking, but then also sort of I started being my own devil's advocate, and I thought, well, if somebody's willing to put themselves out on the internet, and let's say they have a lot of jump cuts in a vlog, or they've edited a whole crap ton out of their podcast, to put myself on the spot so I don't sound like I'm attacking somebody else. Not that I do edit my podcasts very often, just because I'm lazy more than anything. But I kind of realized, I was kind of thinking to myself, kind of being devil's advocate for what I was thinking about. Maybe a person's equally as genuine, even if they do edit a lot of stuff. Because if you think about it, there's a type of genuine where it's almost entirely unedited and it's just put out there, whether or not they've thought about what they're going to do on whatever they've made. it's all unedited. So that's one form of sort of genuine, and I say that with air quotes, being genuine on the internet. And there's also the kind of, I feel like it's also somewhat genuine to sort of put a big effort into editing out parts or editing in other parts to kind of get the best representation of what you want for your audience. I feel like I worded that poorly. Not to say you want to always show the best part of yourself, but maybe you want to get the most out of who you are or what you're trying to represent in something you've put on the internet. So maybe editing and putting a lot of effort into that editing is also genuine, because you're still putting time and effort in to sort of show the world something that you want to show, more or less. I hope I'm making sense here, because I feel like I've kind of rambled off into a tangent that doesn't make any sense anymore. But yeah, it was just kind of a second thought I had, along with, maybe people who edit stuff aren't genuine at all, to kind of tackle that with, well, maybe they're equally as genuine because they're putting effort into showing one particular side of them, or not necessarily one particular side, but try and cut out all the fat of what they're trying to get across. But yeah, I've had that topic on my list for a while, and I figured I'd just throw it out there since I have the time for it. I'm just hoping I got that across properly, because I feel like I kind of stumbling with my words there for a bit. But I'm sure you all definitely know what I mean. Like, we have people tweet and Instagram photos, and those all have filters, and you could edit those, or you could delete those before anybody sees them, or edit them so it says something different instead of what you wanted to say, and you can spend 10 minutes just staring at a tweet to make sure every bit of it is perfect. So there's definitely a sort of questionableness or sort of questions you have to ask yourself when you see a YouTuber or somebody you follow on Twitter and Instagram, and kind of think to yourself and think, it's something I like to do often, not to put people down who I follow or whatever, but especially things like Instagram photos or stuff. It's kind of like, I always imagine what they look like taking that picture or making that video, just so it could be just the way that it is. You know what I mean? Like, you have somebody doing a close-up of a piece of food, but then you realize that, kind of zoom out that photo a little bit, and you see somebody who's like just got their phone in their food. Not that I have any problem with that. I'm just trying to help visualize my understanding of what it's like, or questioning somebody's genuine natures on the internet. I'm going to stop there, because I feel like I've just been rambling about the same thing, and I've kind of feel like I've gotten my point across enough times, or I didn't get my point across at all, and I've just confused all of my listeners. But with that in mind, thank you all again for listening, and Outro Greg. That's who I'm going to call him now. That's what I'm going to refer to my outro recordings. And my intro recording is going to have intro Greg, outro Greg, and intermission Greg. So outro Greg, take it away. Well, folks, that's all we have for this week. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and I hope you'll join us next week for whatever crazy shit we talk about. Until next time, have a good one.